It was 9 years ago when Daniel Passarella collected the World Cup for Argentina. A great triumph for the host nation in their own River Plate Stadium in Buenos Aires. And here on the very same ground, Argentina, current world champions again, of course, are hunting another prestigious trophy. It's the semi-final of the South American Championship, and this confrontation with their old rivals Uruguay has packed the stadium just like those heady days of 1978. Well, Chile await in the final after thrashing Brazil and then scraping past Colombia 2-1 after extra time. And that final you'll also be able to see here on ITV tomorrow night. Argentina have lent heavily on Diego Maradona. There's no surprise in that. Maradona, their scorer in a disappointing 1-1 draw in their opening game against Peru, which meant that a solid win against Ecuador was much needed to clinch this semi-final spot. And Diego obliged again. As for Uruguay, they haven't taken part in the preliminary matches. As holders of the South American Championship, they earned a bye straight into this semi-final. Enzo Francescoli is one of the few survivors from a squad disgraced by indiscipline in Mexico a year ago. A World Cup that for Uruguay ended in defeat by Argentina. Well, the match, and it's a very intriguing one indeed, will get underway shortly. We'll be back to introduce the teams after the break. Welcome back to the River Plate Stadium in Buenos Aires. Let's look now at the two teams, and Argentina have 7 members of last year's World Cup winning side. No Burruchaga, who's injured, or Valdano, who's been ill. So 2 youngsters, Canigia and Percudani, have attacking responsibilities thrust upon them. Tapia in midfield was in the squad in Mexico. So too was goalkeeper Islas, the number 2 to Neri Pumpido, who's now in hospital following a horrifying training accident which stripped a finger to the bone. Uruguay have a new coach, Roberto Fleitas, and basically a new team. 2 who did take part in the last World Cup, Gutierrez, a pillar in defence, and the speedy forward Alzamendi, actually play their club football on this ground for River Plate. Francescoli in Paris and Ruben Sosa in Zaragoza are the only European-based players. Refereeing his second match of the tournament, Elias Jacome of Ecuador. Well, David Pleat, it's been a tournament full of surprises so far. How do you expect this one to go?
I think it'll be a very tight game, Martin. It's humid conditions. I think there'll be a slowish build-up, but there's some exciting forward talent on the field. It's going to be a great game, I think.
Well, Argentina in the shirts of all blue. It's been a tournament that in some ways has been a little slow to take off. Even the local fans here, perhaps disappointed by Argentina's opening showing against Peru. They've been a little slow to respond. But this one has certainly brought in the public, and it's also brought an early response from the referee, who's going to be a vital figure here. It's a yellow card for Trasante of Uruguay in 20 seconds from the kickoff. So Uruguay, who were shameful in the World Cup and were condemned by the footballing world, fined heavily by FIFA, they've committed an indiscretion right at the start, and there is an air of cynicism about their play. So much depending on how the referee can keep this game under control. And he blows again for an infringement from the free kick, as Brown, the sweeper for Argentina, had made his way forward and was perhaps guilty of a spot of pushing. Well, it's Pereira, Eduardo Pereira, the Uruguay goalkeeper. This is Ruben Sosa wearing number 11, who fans at Wrexham might remember. He played there for Zaragoza in the Cup Winners' Cup last season. Trasante, the player who got the yellow card, just rolling the ball forward to Alzamendi. Helped on well by Ruben Sosa and Francescoli. who was a River Plate player before he joined Racing Club in Paris and knows all about this stadium, as does Alzamendi, who's involved again. It's very much akin to England against Scotland, Argentina against Uruguay. The breakout led by Percudani of Independiente, only 21, and Canigia, the other young forward, is 20, with Maradona helping them whenever possible, and always a threat to Uruguay, I'm sure. The cross this time cut out. What a year it's been for Diego Maradona, having gone up to get the World Cup in Mexico City and then led his club Napoli to a league and cup double in Italy. It would just be rounded off nicely with the South American Championship here. Pablo Bengochea plays for the Wanderers club. Slipping inside Batista, and the referee making sure that although there could have been an advantage then, that any early challenges are punished very firmly. It's no place, David, out there for the faint-hearted.
No, there's going to be some tough tackling, and the people are going to be very quick into each other. And of course, there's some players out there with some brilliant control in tight situations. But I'm sure the referee's going to be firm but fair, and he'll make his point early on, which he already has.
Olaticochea with the throw. Brown. Ruggeri looking to send it long. He was aiming for Canigia. Claudio Canigia has only really been a reserve, in fact a deputy for River Plate, for Alzamendi, who's in the opposing ranks today. Justi, taken from him by the captain Perdomo. And already we've seen signs of the Uruguay forward players, Francescoli in particular, looking to attack Argentina with the ball. Percudani. Rather given away by Olaticochea. One back by Batista. That's very much his job in midfield. One factor, of course, is that Uruguay come fresh into this game, having not been involved in the group stages. A competition, the equivalent in South America of our European Championship. Argentina have played twice, and indeed that win against Ecuador was their first victory since they won the World Cup in Mexico City more than a year ago now.
The game's only a few minutes old, but you can already sense a greater sense of urgency amongst these two sides than the Chile-Colombia game in the other semi-final. There's probably more at stake, even greater pride.
Well, Canigia had overrun the ball. Whichever side goes through here will surely be favourites to take the trophy. Chile very much the surprise package. Brown, the free player at the back. Uruguay's corner. To be taken by Bengochea. And it's a goal kick. These two countries have dominated this competition over the years. Nine victories for Argentina, 8 for Uruguay. But Argentina haven't won it since 1959. And a great opportunity with the revamping of the structure of the competition to stage it all over a 2-week period in one country. Argentina, knowing how home advantage can tell, as the '78 World Cup proved.
It's quite a swirling wind, and I think that the corners could prove difficult for the goalkeepers if they're well hit.
Batista lurking in the near post area, and just look at the way they're marking him. Almost wrestling techniques there. But on the counter-attack, it's Ruben Sosa of Zaragoza. And Alzamendi is up with him, and had he been able to control them, it would have been the game's first chance. The danger not over yet for Argentina, but it is now. And Canigia looking to instigate the counter-attack. It's a tackle that's brought Carlos Pilado, Argentina's coach, to the touchline. A more phlegmatic approach from Uruguay's goalkeeper Pereira, but he must be anxious inside, because this is within the range of Maradona. And it's good to see a referee firmly applying the letter of the law in terms of the wall being put back the required distance. Maradona being made to wait because it's played short, and the whistle has gone. Justi, the player, in some discomfort, and the yellow card is out again, for the attention being paid to Justi making a nuisance of himself in the wall.
Maradona's reputation goes before him on all free kicks, and of course the Uruguayan defenders will be fearful of him bending one over the top, and therefore it would be very rare to get them the full 10 yards.
Alzamendi may have been the player cautioned. So what can Maradona come up with here? He lays it off, and it's a ploy that almost worked, with Tapia benefiting from the concern from Uruguay that Maradona might go the direct route. Just played to an unmarked Tapia. Canigia certainly on the receiving end of some stern treatment.
When Argentina are building up their play, Uruguay are quite content to get behind the ball, to make it difficult for them to make angles, to make passes in between them. It'll be important for them to keep it tight in the first 20 minutes, half an hour of the game. They'll see that as a moral victory in the early stages.
Bekudani with the arm raised. for Chuffo over the ball. It's won by Ruggeri. Maradona moving in, hoping it would drop his way at the other post. But we've seen before, especially in Mexico, the strength in the air of Oscar Ruggeri. This is Ruben Sosa. Gutierrez, who was simply outstanding against Scotland in his defensive capacity, is adding height for Uruguay at this corner. Just hit beyond him, curling behind.
There's always a chance of the ink swinger going away from the forwards. As you can see by the confetti and the ticker tape, whatever it is on the pitch there, you know, there is quite a swirl.
Canihia. Pekudani. It needed a surer first touch from a player who first caught the eye back in 1984 when he scored the winner in the World Club Championship for Independiente against Liverpool in Tokyo. It's a deafening noise in this magnificent stadium, a crowd of some 70,000. Canihia has given the home fans perhaps the greatest hope so far. Maradona, as we saw in Zurich last month, quite prepared just to take on the role of team player, David, as well as the supreme individual.
Yes, I'm sure as he comes in for greater individual attention as the years go on, he'll obviously have to use other people and use his great talents to get other people into the game. But he reminds me of Puskás. You know, every time I see him, the same squat figure, the same magnificent left foot, and he's going to be a great player for years to come.
And this is Canihia. Pekudani. Still Pekudani. Tapia, and it's come away until Olaticochea hit the shot. Canihia was in behind Uruguay then, but it was a little too much here for Pekudani. Forced back, forced further back. And finally the shot from distance, not to trouble Pereira, from Olaticochea.
It was just noticeable how quickly the Argentinians got their players forward there in support.
And you sense that Pekudani is a little unpopular with the Argentinian fans, and it was difficult for him as the ball was cut back. And would you fault him then, David, as he was forced further and further away from the danger area?
His first touch had to be excellent. He was under great pressure. He tried to retain control as long as possible. It was difficult for him.
Francescoli. And again. And it's the outside of the goal from Bengochea. So just when Argentina were finding an extra gear, Uruguay show the cutting edge in their play. Picked off by Dominguez. The new Uruguayan coach, Roberto Fleitas, has looked to the leading club side, Peñarol, to revamp his selection. But Maradona can beat anybody when he's in the mood, and that for a moment, looked as though he was going to add to his catalogue of stupendous goals on big occasions.
Magnificent surge, magnificent close control, shades of Mexico against England. Would have been a wonderful goal. He's got such power.
And to my mind, he looks as though he shed a pound or two. Beautifully played between Justi and Maradona. Splendid stuff from Argentina. But again, enough discipline in Uruguay's defending to keep their great rivals at bay. The ball winner once more. In truth, it was a rather wasted effort by Dominguez. Matosas, the player fouled. He's only 20. His father was a Uruguayan international. Francescoli, certainly, although he's heavily outnumbered, when he gets the ball on the edge of the area, backing his own touch and talent, and that ambition has led to a free kick to Uruguay. And Islas at the second attempt. Francescoli was the decoy, and it was Bencochea who clipped it over the wall. Plenty of Uruguayan supporters have crossed the River Plate to come to Buenos Aires, and they will feel so far their journey has been worthwhile. The opportunity to see Francescoli back from France, part of that attraction.
Yeah, Francescoli will always attract attention, and he'll always get fouls given against him because of his style of play. Likes to get the ball down and dribble past people, and it would be unwise of the Argentinian team to make too many irresponsible challenges just outside the box. We've already seen in this game 2 good chances created from free kicks.
And that was deflected on, and very nearly in. It was hit by Perdomo, the captain, and I think it was Alzamendi who just let it ricochet off the heel, and then it came out off the post. Islas saved then by the woodwork.
Just undermines the fact, Martin, to give free kicks away near your goal, very dangerous when you have players of such great technical ability.
Temperature at kick-off time around 20 degrees Celsius. Very, very humid indeed. Well, Batista will have to keep his cool. Alzamendi doing a bit of teasing then with the ball in his hands. Batista was sent off against Peru, in the first match of the competition. Has served his one-game suspension. And it took Maradona to come back and help deal with Francescoli, but only at the cost of another free kick. And nobody really has got that look of aggrieved feelings better than Diego Armando Maradona.
I think this is a great theatre, Martin, and they're all acting the part.
He's like a child then who's had his favourite toy taken from him. But the referee has been firmness itself, and that's contributed to the quality of the game. This time it's Canigia who wins the free kick for Argentina. Francescoli reluctant to release the ball. Dominguez, and that from Alaticochea looked like a challenge with both feet. All it is a throw to Argentina, and one of those splendidly hooked cross from Maradona. And Ruggeri, the defender, had sensed the possibilities then and arrived in the right place at the right time, and his real problem was a teammate to prevent the free jump.
It was a wonderful cross from a difficult position, two players on him, and he still managed to get the ball exactly where he wanted.
Determined work by Brown, who had to come across to stop the surge down the far side by Saldana. So Maradona kept it in, but in doing so the momentum carried him out of play, and the crowd whistling because Dominguez, I don't think, was caring too much whether he got the ball or Maradona. Another cross when there seemed to be no room at all. He's a magician.
Yeah, and that ball was played into an area where the goalkeeper's most vulnerable. There's no way he can get to that ball on the corner of his 6-yard box.
Same sort of area where Batista was coming in and pushing in his endeavours to get to the ball first. Well, David, if you ever do sign him for Tottenham, as some of the popular papers suggest, I hope it's while he's still got plenty of fuel in the tank. Be wonderful to even consider the thought of Maradona playing in the Football League.
Yes, I think that type of player who's a great artist, a great character, world class, would grace the game in any country, and I'm sure he would get a great welcome in this country.
Some 7 minutes to go before half-time. And it's Ruben Sosa with Alzamendi making a good decoy run, which was acknowledged by his teammate. And yet again, that willingness to carry the ball at defenders has produced a free kick which will be of some concern to Carlos Bilardo. Well, just as Argentina have Maradona, Uruguay have Francescoli, and as we've seen, one or two alternatives as well. Francescoli this time. Too close for comfort for the goalkeeper. Enzo Francescoli, 25 years old. That's hungry look about him. And he's kept Uruguay hungry in this first half. Been no real policy of just sitting back. When they've got possession, they've used it to good effect. With the directness of Francescoli, Alzamendi and Ruben Sosa. Canigia, one, number 3, bringing down the other. Gutierrez, the offender. And Maradona can scarcely believe it. Taking the role of counsel on behalf of his younger teammate. So, that sense of anticipation again. Maradona presides over a set play. Justi again, busy in the wall. Pachufo over the ball, and Maradona varying it. It almost came for Canigia. Ruggeri was there as well.
That's the brilliance of Maradona. Twice now he's disguised his free kicks where everyone was expecting the shot, and a goal chance came as a result.
Percudani played a part too in the scramble, but Uruguay were outnumbered on this near side because of the attention they were paying to what they thought would be the direct shot. And that's neatly touched on, and it's come for Alzamendi! And that directness in Uruguay's play has stunned the Argentinian support. Antonio Alzamendi with Sosa and Francescoli setting it up on the break, and Alzamendi, a very calm finish indeed.
I thought Sosa's pass inside was absolutely brilliant. That gave them the 2-on-1 situation, which is finished so coolly. It was a superb pass by Sosa.
And Alzamendi, rather like rugby three-quarter, the last man in the line, on his home ground, a real hero with the River Plate fans, because last December he scored the winning goal for the Argentinian club in the World Club Championship against Steaua of Bucharest in Tokyo. Obviously a man for the grand occasion. Uruguay lead right on half-time. That's the way it's really been for Maradona, and his teammates' frustration and the irony at half-time. But Argentina go off trailing to a goal from an Argentinian-based Uruguayan, Antonio Alzamendi. A first half of fierce commitment and a goal to really set up the second period. We'll take a short break. Join us for the second half with Uruguay leading Argentina by 1-0 at half-time. Welcome back to the River Plate Stadium in Buenos Aires. Argentina, the world champions, in some trouble, trailing Uruguay in the semi-final of the South American Championships. And to that end, they've made a substitution. Percudani, who's looked a little lightweight in the first half, replaced by Funes, who's certainly not light in weight. Another of the River Plate men. And A sturdy striker to link up with Canigia. But Uruguay with that one goal safely banked by Alzamendi. And I'm sure, David Pleat, you've been impressed with the way they had defended up to that point. Now they've really got something to play for.
Yes, I think some of the defending was exceptionally good in the first half. They all got behind the ball very quickly, and there was very few chances able to be created. But some of the play from midfield and with the attacking players running with the ball is a delight to watch.
Well, there may be a slight difference in the Argentinian approach with Funes on. He's certainly a player to whom you can hit the ball in the air. Maybe the likes of Canigia can provide the service. A foul by Ruben Sosa. Uruguay leading by goal that was so cleanly constructed, with Francescoli getting the last touch on to Alzamendi after Ruben Sosa's wonderful switch of the ball inside to Francescoli. That's Cochea. Advantage played as Ruggeri was fouled in the middle of the field. Cochea again, and that was worthy of Maradona, to Maradona. From Argentina's left back, Julio Cochea. Headed away to safety by Trasante for Uruguay. Matosas going in strongly to stop Cochea. And it may be that Argentina will need to take a gamble or two in throwing defenders forward against this very well-knit Uruguayan defence, and all the while the prospect of another menacing counter-attack in the manner of the one which brought Uruguay the game's only goal so far. Justi for Argentina. Maradona's won it back. It's a lovely touch by Canigia, and Tapia took the shot early and not too far away.
Maradona does well there. He's not frightened to play the ball into players who are tightly marked. It was a lovely flick off and a first-class effort, well taken early. But I think we've seen the pattern already in this second half, Martin. That Argentina will be pushing forward, will work very hard. They'll have to show great discipline at the back, will the Uruguayans. But they're always going to be vulnerable to the counter-attacking of the Uruguayans.
Justi. Batista playing it really into the heart of the defending. But they're quite happy to do that if the result is a clever touch-off from a player with his back to goal, as Canigia did a moment or two ago when he set up Tapia. Half appeal for handball, but play goes on, and Alzamendi foiled by an excellent save by Islas.
He did very well there to close that, because it was a good effort, and once again the Argentinians were caught out.
They certainly felt there had been an infringement a little bit earlier, but Ruben Sosa weighted the pass brilliantly again. Excellent goalkeeping from the replacement for Partido, whose career is in some jeopardy, although I understand he's going to spend about 3 weeks in hospital, and the first signs are good that Neri Partido will be able to play again. Indeed, a number of the Argentinian players have been visiting him in hospital in the days leading up to the game. But if he's watching on television, Partido, I'm sure he'll be thrilled to see his deputy save so well and keep Argentina in the match. Tapia. Every pass that goes astray is greeted now with anxiety from this vast crowd, and that's something that the Argentinian players will have to cope with as well. And Canigia booked. The goalkeeper was way out of his area too. No protest from Argentina, they're just happy to get their free kick and get on with it.
They've put Canigia in more of a wandering role now. He started the game wideish on the right, and now he's going to move around up front, obviously to try and disconcert the tight marking of the Argentinian defence.
Game clipped in by Maradona, and Ruggeri very much the target with Funes for the high balls played in. Good defending by Trasante against the presence of Oscar Ruggeri. Had to get there first to stop Ruggeri knocking it back across the face of the goal.
Two excellent defensive headers there, Martin. I think as the game goes on, they'll be throwing a few balls into the box and they'll be tested.
Ruggeri and Batista waiting again. Couldn't bypass the man guarding the near post area. Tapia. Maradona who'd taken the corner. Criticism of the World Cup holders has been, I suppose, that they have relied so much on Maradona. It's really an opportunity here for the others to show that they can come to the team's rescue, and they need rescuing at the moment.
I think, to be fair, Martin, without Burruchaga and Valdano, it's even more responsibility on Maradona's well-set shoulders. You know, they've got younger players around them, and as I say, you know, it's early days and they're experimenting, and the World Cup is the most important competition, and they work towards that goal.
When you look back to Mexico, it was of course Burruchaga and Valdano who chipped in with the other goals when Maradona wasn't scoring. Valdano, who's been stricken with hepatitis. It takes some coming back from at this level of the game, such a weakening illness. Memory serves me right, Jimmy Greaves had it towards the end of his career. Funes, who could make a name for himself with a real contribution in this match. Having won the free kick, Funes initially wanted to take it himself. he waits with Maradona. Ruggeri, free header. A definite chance.
Managed to sneak in there and defeat the marking. May have felt he could have done better.
Alfaro is the player warming up. I'm sure you're right, David, in what you said earlier about the next World Cup being the highest priority for the coach, Carlos Vilado. But it's hard to explain that to supporters. I sense here that they're beginning to bear down a little bit on the players who would perhaps appreciate greater resolve from the terraces. But here's Funes, and it's an interesting cross. It fell in the end awkwardly for Justi.
Goalkeeper got it wrong. Seem to have trouble with the crosses. Maybe it's because in the South American game they're not so much used to the English, if you like, traditional style of cross. It's more working the ball around the box and waiting for the opportunity to get a strike at goal.
I'm sure that Uruguay would have felt the opening 15 minutes of the second half to be very, very important. Expecting Argentina to come sharply off the blocks at the start of the second half. And they've now got through that 15 minutes. They still lead, not without one or two awkward moments though. Gutierrez seems to take on the role of spokesman, the number 3 there. Ian Francescoli survived the purge following the World Cup ignominy in Mexico. But this new team, so far doing Uruguay proud. But they must endure more pressure here. Justi, mishit.
That's possibly the 5th free kick or 6th free kick of the game that Maradona has played. In the last 3 or 4, so far, he's spurned the opportunity to have one direct effort at goal, which I suppose is somewhat disappointing. When the Uruguayans have had the free kicks around the box, they've gone for the main hit.
That's neatly done by Funes, and Caniggia hasn't heard the whistle. It's no goal. And no doubt. Few offsides, David, but this was one of them.
Martin, correct me if I'm wrong, that is the first offside decision of the game. And that is why we've got such a fascinating game. But it was well offside, the player knew it, and it was a token to put it in the net.
Brown overhit that. Cuchufo. Justi. It was an ambitious pass, maybe over-ambitious. Batista getting extra applause for halting Francescoli. Deeper and deeper comes Diego. Tapia. Batista. Patience, very much a virtue for Argentina. They really daren't resort to just thumping the ball into the middle. Uruguay have shown themselves to be capable in their aerial defending. Much of a clearance initially by Saldana on his weaker foot. And a push on Justi means that Uruguay have to be disciplined once more. Justi takes the free kick himself. Capably dealt with. What is on here with Francescoli and Alzamendi? They want offside. It's wide in any case. But it's like a rapier through the middle there when they get it right.
There's a tremendous sense of purpose there by Alzamendi. I mean, the man's 31 years old. He broke with such pace to get onto that ball.
And here they are, Uruguay, away from home against traditional rivals, and passing the ball back when pressed quite calmly to Pereira. Perdomo. Reminder of the score with 20 minutes gone in the second half. And a score certainly, if it stays this way, to raise a few eyebrows around the world. And here's another offside.
You made a good point about the aerial supremacy of the Uruguayan defenders, Martin. The previous counter-attack, where Alzamendi has missed a chance, came as a direct result of Transanti heading the ball away. They've all shown good power in the air, and Argentina have just got to prize an opening by trying to get round the outsides and making a real chance rather than just throwing the ball into the box. That'll be meat and drink to the Uruguayan defenders. They're quite capable of defending in depth.
Well and truly established in the second half. On from Canigia, but no way Tapia could reach it. It's a rather panicky handball then by Saldana. Tapia, and Canigia realised he could turn. He got past two, but not the third. Good piece of decision-making then. Would have been easy to lay it off. Canigia tried to do the more difficult thing. And the result, yet another Argentinian free kick. Will Maradona shoot this time? Tapia, the player to his left, also blessed with a very good left foot. But he goes past the ball, Maradona does curl it, and Pereira was in the right place. And that's not easy, because Maradona can sucker you to go towards the middle of the goal too much and beat you on either side. Justi, and surely that will be another yellow card. Tapia could have been in the clear.
No question about a blatant obstruction there. The Uruguayans must keep their cool. If they lose this game, it will be because their temperament blows up. They must keep calm.
Ruggeri again making contact, but hadn't got his angles right. certainly does evoke memories of the situation Scotland found themselves in the World Cup a year ago. Just like Argentina, they desperately needed a goal. And they were playing against 10 men, they had so much of the play, but Uruguay always seemed to come up with the answer. And they're doing that here. And quite prepared, that far away from goal, to concede the free kick. Even Maradona is giving this one up as not one that he can try the shot from. And can they mark any closer than that?
It's lovely to see Batista in the box. He's moving all the time.
Uruguay pushing out and very nearly caught, and they might yet be. That time they needed their luck. A change of policy, and they didn't get it right. Ruggieri, an auxiliary forward now. Maradona, that was a superb first-time layoff. But here's Alzamendi. Well, for my money, Batista has been as good as anybody for Argentina.
He catches the eye with that puritanical style of his, but to be fair, if I was an English club looking for a midfield dominator, a midfield ball winner, which we all need, I wouldn't look much further than him. He's a tremendous competitor.
Only 24, Sergio Batista, still playing in Argentina, but often there is transfer speculation about him. Brown in that deep defensive position. Uruguay are going to bring on a substitute, Eduardo da Silva, who's waiting to replace Ruben Sosa, who's really run himself out. Well, they've got the crowd going again, and it's brought a yellow card for Perdomo. The sign that Ruben Sosa has finished his work for today.
He's probably made the most vital contribution of the afternoon, because if that goal is the vital goal that separates the sides, he was the one that made the telling pass that set it up.
And I think, David, there was some story he might have come to play in England, Ruben Sosa, before he went to Spain.
I believe at one time, I may be wrong, but I believe Sheffield Wednesday had a good look at Sosa, but I think the price was a little bit too much. But he finished up going to Zaragoza in Spain.
And I wonder there whether he left with a yellow card on his record. Maybe for taking too long to get off the field. It's a strange one.
Well, there's very few players in this type of football that escape the yellow card.
Bengochea, and who's running clear again? But Antonio Alzamendi, this really could wrap it up. And Islas held his position. The danger has now passed for Argentina. And Islas, twice in the second half, has kept his team in the game. Argentina obviously taking a chance or two now, but we're caught again. And Alzamendi, this time from a slightly wider angle, faced by Islas, who didn't dived too soon and was able to block the shot. Good goalkeeping. A cynical little flick out by Canigia. Matosas, I think, is the player who's hurt. One of the good things about this competition is when players have stayed down injured, all the referees have insisted that the stretcher comes on straight away, so that the flow of the game is not interrupted for too long. Mind you, they've still got to get Matosas onto that stretcher. Batista feeling quite strongly that the game should be resumed. Uruguay, of course, quite happy for any delay, just stops the flow for Argentina, and oh, that's Justi being discarded from the fray. And if you like, typical South American scenes. Midst of which Maradona finds time for a bit of liquid refreshment.
Well, there's a great record of rivalry over the years between these two great South American countries. I mean, in Uruguay, football really is a religion.
Alzamendi still getting in his shots. Matosas, as one might have suspected, wanting to quickly get back into the game. Former captain of Uruguay's youth team. And at 20, they are predicting a great future for him. Tapia, Maradona, and that almost infallible control failed him at the crucial moment.
It was a very clever run, so difficult with the ball going away from him. But a brilliant run. I mean, he got free of people.
Any other player in the world, really, you wouldn't be critical, but I suppose you expect Maradona to find an answer to his problem in that situation. Well, it's Alfaro for Cutrufo, a defender being taken off, and Roque Alfaro, who really is a raiding midfield player. It's the last gamble by Bilardo. Like Funes, Alfaro also plays his football in this stadium for River Plate. Never afraid in their numbering to give an outfield player the number 1. Some sort of semblance of alphabetical order. I remember in the 1978 World Cup it was Alonso, here it's Alfaro. And it's his cross, Maradona! And Roque Alfaro quickly making a contribution.
Apart from the free kick when Rogerio had a free header early in the second half, they found it very difficult to get a clear-cut chance of goal in the air.
Tapia. One back by Canigia. Here's Justi. Alfaro. That's an earlier cross, and it's reached Tapia. Ruggeri not quite sharp enough, and Brown left to supervise at the back.
That was a wonderful touch of Tapia, controlling that ball and laying it up in the box. I'm very impressed with him. Very good left foot.
Since Argentina won the World Cup, they played a friendly against Roma. back in March and lost that. They lost in a game you might well have seen on ITV in Zurich against Italy. And then they lost the friendly at home against Paraguay before this tournament began. So there possibly has been some reaction, particularly in the face of the injuries to key players, to winning the World Cup. The second substitute for Uruguay, Jose Enrique Peña. Francescoli is the player down, but he's not the player going off. It's Pablo Bencochea. Equaliser, of course, would send the semi-final into extra time, and after that there would be penalties. Extra time in the first semi-final between Chile and Colombia. Highly dramatic it was too, with all three of the game's goals happening in the extra 30 minutes.
Uruguay don't succumb to extra time. They should finish nice and fresh if they can win the game, and they would be favourites, I would imagine, for the final.
Who knows? In this competition, David, it's been full of surprises. And you're right on form. As we were saying in the first half, the winners here really would be expected to go on and take the championship. Tapia, it's opened up in front of him.
They've certainly got to shoot at every opportunity. It's the wise thing to do. They've got to take risks and hit efforts at goal as much as possible and hope for knockdowns or rebounds or scrambles. The Argentinians are squeezing the space a little bit more now. Brown, the sweeper, has pushed his defenders on, so they'll close the space a little bit. The beauty of the game so far has been the distances between the two back fours that has enabled to some of the good passing and running from midfield.
Funes was taken from him by Maradona, and you can't blame him, or indeed Funes, for allowing that to happen. But it looked as the ball dropped as though the better chance might come to the lesser known player. Batista. Maradona couldn't find Canigia, and everyone for Uruguay back behind the ball. That was Alzamendi. It's his goal that is still the difference between the two sides. Blocking off there by Trasante on Funes. Argentina are appealing for everything now, trying to put pressure on the referee, who overall has done well. The game has never got out of control, and it's highly pressured. Look of injured innocence again.
Maradona's certainly doing all he knows to try and get the Argentinians back in the game. He's working hard, he's grafting, he's looking for space, he's trying to bring other players into the game. He certainly is no prima donna.
Maradona hasn't been able to take full part in the training under Carlos Bilardo since he's been back in Argentina. He was laid up for a couple of days with a sore throat. But he and his teammates are going to need every ounce of stamina, being taken the full distance and beyond by Uruguay. Peña, the substitute. Alzamendi has worked across the full width of the pitch to make his runs, and with that sharp eye for the timing of them.
He's almost a lone raider now, Martin, as they come under further pressure. Franciscoli's dropped deeper.
Retrieved by Tapia again. No shortage of industry from Argentina. What really is lacking is the sharpness of the team play, but Funes and Pereira with an astonishing save.
Absolutely brilliant save, and there was the value of the quick free kick. Before the Uruguayans had a chance to get the defence in shape, they took the kick quickly, and it was a brilliant header, brilliantly saved.
Well, sometimes you believe that it's not going to be your day, and after that, maybe Argentina will feel that way. Tapia, but Eduardo Pereira protecting the lead for Uruguay, and it's Canigia who found the speed and the awareness to get back. He might have to defend again here. A thrilling finish to the game, if it is going to finish in normal time. Funes thought he'd certainly sent it into extra time when he made contact with the ball. But you judge saves, I suppose, not just in their athleticism, but when they happen in the context of a match. And great is not a word to use lightly, but that was a great save by Eduardo Pereira from Funes. Uruguay delighted to keep the ball at the other end of the field. And young Matosas playing his part in that. What a coup for Roberto Fleitas, the coach, if they do see it through. Looking to the youth of Uruguayan football to wipe away the memories of the past in Mexico, and indeed to retain their title as kings of South America. Peña just trying to get a foot in. Funes, here's Alfaro. We're in to the time that the referee from Ecuador chooses to add on. More than 3 minutes at the end of the first half. Time is the enemy for Argentina. Trasante, it hit an arm. A mistimed header. Alfaro over the goalkeeper. Certainly worth the shout for the penalty.
Brilliant 1-2 in the box.
And they're appealing again. Canigia, to my mind though, threw himself to the ground.
Argentina just may regret that they haven't made better use of corners and free kicks. I feel they've had enough of the play and they haven't just been able to prize that opening.
Alfaro. But Funes was stumbling to regain his balance. And Gutierrez, once again, rock solid for Uruguay at the back, was able to slide it to his own goalkeeper. Francescoli and Alzamendi indulging in a spot of keep ball. And that's the legitimate way to use up time. 2 minutes of stoppage time. Now they can't waste time with fancy passes. They have to get it into the penalty area. Canigia. Peña with the tackle, and the other substitute is Da Silva. It's the final whistle. Argentina, the World Cup winners, have been dumped out of their own domestic championship, and Uruguay celebrate a famous victory, their first here in Buenos Aires for 50 years. Alzamendi's 44th minute goal enough, coupled with Pereira's wonderful late save from Funes, which foiled Argentina's strenuous efforts to earn a reprieve. So the 1987 South American Championship continues to surprise. Argentina versus Brazil was the predicted final. Instead, it's Uruguay against Chile. It's the holders against the revelation of the tournament. Join us for Uruguay against Chile tomorrow night on ITV.